Hey, baddie. If someone had told me that I was going to drop a free 10-day challenge in the last 10 days of 2023 and then drop a brand new mini offer, I honestly don't know if I would have believed them. Hey, thanks for joining. And so I was listening to some podcasts recently about entrepreneurship, and one of the things that I feel like I almost forgot about entrepreneurship is that there's meant to be uncertainty. You're not meant to be sure. You're meant to feel uncomfortable. And I think sometimes we kind of get comfortable in our business and we forget that we have to actually keep moving through the discomfort to actually create wins in our business. And so I want to talk about what I've been doing over the past 2 weeks to launch this free challenge and this additional offer and get more downloads for what I'm going to do in 2024. And specifically just how much fear has come up. And it's not to say because I put something on my stories the other day where I was the amount of fear that's coming up for me is unreal. And I got a lot of really nice messages, people saying you're killing it, keep going, you're going to figure it out and all this stuff. And it's not that I have doubt that I'm going to figure it out, but it's just kind of been a really stark reminder of how our nervous system wants to keep us safe, and it genuinely thinks that it's in danger when we're taking a lot of action, we're making a lot of moves, we're taking a lot of risks, we're a lot of basically doubt is coming up. And so it's been really interesting moving through that fear, and I just keep coming back to when I was in that hot yoga class and I had basically decided to do the challenge, the free 10-day challenge. I had a lot of resistance that came up because, and I think it's we make a lot of assumptions about things. We make a lot of assumptions, and I think these assumptions hold us back. For example, I assumed that no one would want to do the challenge. I assumed that you needed to plan a lot for a challenge. I assumed that people wouldn't want to make 10 reels every day over Christmas, and all these assumptions that really just hold us back from taking action. And so I think the biggest thing that I've learned through doing all these things, launching this free challenge within literally 12 hours of getting the idea, launching a mini offer within 48 hours of getting the idea, and then getting 3 baddies into my offer within literally 12 hours of creating the Thrive Card checkout. And it was all because I basically just didn't let these assumptions stop me. Hey, Baddie K. I'm just talking about how I feel it's funny because I feel I took a lot of action this year. It's I feel I did a lot of things. I dropped a lot of offers. I pivoted my niche and all these things. But at the same time, I've been holding back a lot. There were a lot of things I was scared of because of these assumptions that I made about these things. People aren't going to sign up. There's not going to be enough people, or people don't want this, or I'm not going to know how to sell this, all these assumptions. And not that I'm judging myself and saying I should have done more, but it's just more a very sober, objective view of my year is I could have done a lot more, and all I'm saying is I'm going to bring this energy into 2024. And something that I was thinking about the other day is how sneaky fear is. Hey, Baddie P. Fear is so freaking sneaky. It hides behind, it creates really good arguments. It will really convince you that it's actually not, hey babe, it'll convince you that it's actually not fear. Literally you'll be oh no, I'm being reasonable. this just doesn't really have an option of working. So like I'm being responsible by actually not implementing this, or like not taking action, or not dropping this offer, or like not sending that email to that past client to talk about my program. But I think the biggest thing for me in the past year has been like I've bought into these tricks that fear has played on me, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm just so glad that like in the past 2 weeks, I didn't listen to those assumptions. You know, there have been so many moments in the past like 2 weeks where I've been like, like, should I do that thing? Should I do that thing? You know, but like, I really just tried to live in a world where I'm like, I think the biggest thing honestly for me was like, I actually did it for me. Obviously we want to do things in our business to, you know, serve our clients. We want to obviously like generate income and like all that kind of stuff. But I think like the shift that I made the past kind of like few weeks, and not that I never thought about this, but like what I kind of reminded myself of the last few weeks is I'm doing it for me so that I can like try to do this thing to see if it works out. Cause it's so funny. I was looking at one of my old carousels from like March or something, and I was like talking about how I went from like charging $150 to $1,800 for an offer and like hitting my first 10K month. And it's so funny because like the caption, it was hilarious. I was like analyzing this post and I read the caption, and it was like the caption was like written by like March version of me, but it was like so very relevant to now. And it was talking about how like my motto is move fast, fail fast. And I was saying how like, you know, I don't even care if like things don't work, because the sooner I can fail, the sooner I will succeed. And it's just so funny because like, I mean, I still believe in that motto, but like in business, we sometimes forget our own mottos. And like I said, like we get convinced by like these very convincing arguments of like our fear and our self-doubt and all these things that like cut me off. But or like our ego keeping us safe. These are all like sneaky things that convince us that like it's actually a logical reason, right? But like what I really came back to during that, especially when I was about to drop the free challenge, I was like, you know what? It literally doesn't matter if it fails. It literally doesn't matter, because the sooner I can do a failed free challenge, the sooner I'll learn what doesn't work, and the sooner I will run the challenge that is going to be successful, right? And I think like part of my subconscious was like, because all year I wanted to run a free challenge. Like I literally thought it was so fun. I thought it was so cool. I've been in free challenges before, and I've like upsold with the person too. So I was like, it's such a great initiative, and it's like so fun. Like I love doing community stuff. But it's like I assumed it was going to be like so much work, and I just didn't have self-trust that I would be able to like ironically actually engineer the perfect funnel. And so I really want to like take a pause here and actually talk about the freaking irony of this. Is I didn't run a free challenge all year because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to create the right funnel to like upsell people into an offer. And I'm literally not lying to you right now. When I start, and like Pearl will back me up because she was literally in the background like validating this like challenge with me, or like hyping me up as I was building the challenge, where I literally had no plan to create any kind of program, upsell anyone. I had zero plan at the start of this challenge. Literally, I was like, I am just going to create a reel a day, and if other people want to do it, they can do it. Honestly, the only thing I wanted, ironically, was actually, I just wanted a little bit more community around my Instagram stories. And there was a tiny selfish part of that. I was like, because I'm going to sell more in January. Like, obviously, we all want engagement on our stories. But I was literally like, not asking for anything. That's why I didn't even do the email list. Like, I didn't even ask people to sign up for the email, because I was like, just come hang out on my stories. I don't care if you do the challenge every day. I don't care if you do it once. I don't care if you share it to your stories or not. Just come hang out on my stories, right? That was literally my goal. I was like, I'm just going to create a reel a day. I'm going to talk about it. I'm gonna ask people to come hang out on my stories. And then before I knew it, like one of the girls was like, create a group chat. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, cool. Like I'll create a group chat. And then before I knew it, I was like, hey, like let's do like a free workshop for like IG bio. So we did the free workshop. And then like, as I was planning the free workshop, like I just like got the download, because I've been doing a lot of like thinking around like my my offer suite. And so I made the strategic decision to like only focus on Content Baddie. Because I did feel like it's just an incredible offer, and there were like people in my audience who I knew like needed it. But I've been thinking a lot about it and see, like, this is the other thing. Like, I've been literally listening to my audience, like to my clients, to my community. I literally listen to what people are doing. I actually ask people what they're doing in their business. I ask what their goals are. I ask what they're working through. And because of that, I listen actually on my sales calls. Like, I don't just like listen to the words coming out of their mouth, but like after the sales call, like whether they close, whether they don't close, whatever, I'm like, I wonder, like I try to kind of like, and it's not like this, I get a lot of like fucking hate on TikTok when I analyze these sales calls and people are like, maybe they just didn't want to buy. And I'm just like, yeah, sure. Like, I don't care if the sale happened or not, but like, it's my responsibility as a CEO of my company to turn my freaking brain on after a sales call and do like a little, a little post-mortem, like just kind of like, okay, like, did they not close because maybe not the right client? Did they not close? Maybe it's not the right offer. Could I have said something different in the sales call? It's not about like shaming myself, like, oh my God, we should have closed that person. It's like, no, it's done. It's fine. Let it go. Totally fine. But what can we learn from this to take into our literal business, right? So I do a lot of that where I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, like this person didn't feel like the right fit. They're looking for this, like what's going to happen? And based on all of this, like kind of like analysis I've been doing and listening to my community, I was like, I think I need to drop like a low to mid ticket offer. And genuinely, I was like, I feel like people need help with X. And I've actually validated it with the community. And I was like, oh my God, and I have this like challenge. This is such a great opportunity to talk about this new offer and just kind of like have fun and push myself to like launch something new, right? It came very organically, but it's because I actually didn't put any pressure on anything. And I think this is something that like, and again, coming back to this like irony of like, I've been wanting to launch a free challenge all year, but I didn't launch it because I didn't have the perfect funnel leading up to the offer. Ironically, when I actually created a very authentic funnel, it was because it came organically. I was like, I'm just going to do the free challenge just to do the free challenge. And then I was like, I'm just going to do a free workshop just to do the free workshop. And then I was like, I'm just going to actually like do a low to mid ticket. Like it all came and it all came together because it was just so ironic. Like I truly co-created it with my community, right? And so the biggest kind of like lesson here is sometimes, and I'm speaking for myself here, I have struggled to take action because I felt like I needed to nail the strategy first, right? Because, like it's a balance because you don't want to just like throw everything in every direction. Like you kind of want to be intentional, but at the same time, this like strategy, being intentional, again, that sneaky freaking fear, it'll get ya, where it'll be like, oh wait, no, we're not being intentional. And it's like, are we not being intentional, or are we just scared that it's not going to work out because we don't have everything perfectly planned and secured and confirmed, right? So it kind of comes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of this live. It's like, it's almost like at one point I forgot that I signed up for entrepreneurship, which is uncertainty and discomfort. Like, and it's so stupid because literally I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I wanted a paycheck, I would just go get a job. Like if I just wanted money, I would go get a job. Yet like, here's me a lot of this year kind of struggling to take as much action as I wanted to because I was like scared because I didn't have the strategy, right? But I think when you actually have more self-trust, which I've built more of, not saying I didn't have self-trust before, like I would not be here if I had no self-trust, but like now that I've built more self-trust, I think it's like we trust that the strategy will come to us naturally, kind of like in the moment. Batty K's like, preach. We have to like trust that we're going to figure it out. And the first step is to literally take the action, because if you don't take the action, you're always going to be stuck in this land of assumptions, right? And like, that's where I like, it honestly just, I know like you're probably so tired of like me hearing this, but I literally actually cannot believe that I almost did the challenge on my own. Like how sad. Pearl's like, yes, we will figure it out. Yeah, like that's why we're entrepreneurs, because we're going to figure it out. Like we want to figure it out. We want to solve this puzzle, right? It's even like earlier we had the IG bio workshop, and it's like, I love the puzzle of solving these people's bios, right? Pearl's like, one of my fave quotes is, action creates clarity. Yeah, action creates clarity. But it's like, yeah, I think it's like you forget what game you're playing. And like, again, like the fear of failure becomes really sneaky, where like, I think it's like, I don't know, it's so complicated. It's so complicated because it's like, there's this element of like, you don't want to waste time, right? Like that's something that sometimes torments me. It's like, is this going to be a waste of time? Is this going to be the right thing? Is this going to like delay me? And I truly do believe that there are some things that will be a waste of time, like overthinking, or like, you know, sometimes we go backwards. Batty K is like, I also love action kills the fear. You know, I heard a really good quote. There's this guy, Eddie Pinero, who I listen to on YouTube. Oh my God, he is incredible. So he's a motivational speaker. I'm not usually into motivational speakers, but like, am I into him? No, I'm joking. But actually, he's like really good. He has these like incredible YouTube videos with like these speeches, and he has like such a nice voice. And he put this quote that was like, fear kicks and screams the loudest when it's about to be pushed out, or something like that. And that actually brings me to like, it's funny because I was telling Pearl about this the other day over iMessage, but it's like over a very long iMessage that she struggled to listen to. I like went to leave her a voicemail or like a voice message, and then like literally 15 minutes later, I'm like, sorry girl, it's like a podcast. But the thing that I was talking about was literally the past few days, I felt like there's been some kind of like a witch inside of me that I've literally been like squeezing out of me. Like she's literally been like, no, like she doesn't want to leave because she's like trying to like protect, you know, like she's like, no, we can't do that. It's too scary, or like it's gonna fail or something. And I've literally like, I'm kidding you not, like even, I'm being like super vulnerable here, but it's like, even just like dropping the challenge the first day, even something, I'm getting like super vulnerable, you guys, even something as dumb as like messaging other people who said they wanted me in the challenge and been like, hey, there's a group chat if you want to join. Like literally, I was like, she was like, no, they're gonna think you're weird, or like, no, they're gonna say no, and like all this, like, don't do it. And but I was just like, like, go away, send the thing. And the person's like, I'm in, get me in the group chat. And I was just like, see, like, look what you almost made me not do. Look what you almost made me miss out. Look what you made this person almost miss out on, right? Like freaking witch. But it's like, fear will literally reach its peak right before you're about to, for lack of a better word, pull the trigger. I know we're not supposed to really like talk like that anymore in this day and age, but it's like, yeah, I think it's just something that like, I'm sure we like get better at it. Like you build thicker skin around this fear as an entrepreneur. But like, I know people who like are like 6, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs. They still feel fear. It's not like they're like inhuman and they don't feel fear. And they're just like, la la la, I'm just going to drop this like, you know, like 5-figure offer. And like everyone feels fear. But I think it's like we get better at kicking it away and not and like identifying it. I think that's what it is. It's like we get better at identifying it and just like not falling for it. Like we become more self-aware, right? Like I do feel like entrepreneurship is like a game of self-awareness and game of self-awareness. It's funny because when I first got into entrepreneurship in February 2020, I like this guy who was like sort of one of my mentors. He was like my mentor's friend or whatever. And I had this like one call with him. He's like super busy. He's like really successful, but he like made 30 minutes like created like 30 minutes of time for me. So I like jumped on a call with him. And I will never forget the thing that he told me. He was like, entrepreneurship is about managing your own psychology. And it has literally been 4 years since that man, like almost 4 years since that man said that to me. That was like at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey when I literally had no idea what I was doing. And to this day, I think it's so freaking true. Like, entrepreneurship is about managing your own psychology and not falling for this like bullshit, like fear and self-doubt. And not that it's like bad to fall for it. We all fall for it sometimes, but just being really aware, right? And yeah, so I think that's been like the biggest lesson for me, is just like really identifying what is holding you back. What are the assumptions? And I think like the biggest one is just like moving for you for the sake of like putting the rep in and trying it, right? Like it's not about like the immediate result that you're gonna drive. It's more like, it's really the long term, right? Because now that I've done the free challenge ad hoc like this, it's gonna be so much easier for me to drop the next challenge. Like hell, maybe I'll fucking do a challenge in January, who knows, right? And that one will be probably a little more successful because I've already done it, right? And I think like what I was going to say before is like, I feel like my subconscious wanted me to do this challenge before the end of 2023 because it didn't want to go into 2024 not having done a challenge. Because then we have to kind of like, you're starting from zero, right? Because I feel like with entrepreneurship, there's so many things where you're like starting from zero, and the game is like, don't start from zero. Like for example, like in 2020, I self-published a book. And yeah, exactly, totally, yeah, like it's already like super successful, but it's just like, even if it wasn't super successful, it's like a notch on your belt where you're like, great. So basically with the book that I'm saying, so I self-published this book. I literally spent 6 freaking months writing a book. I interviewed people. It was like this huge thing. I published the book. I barely did any marketing. It was like barely made any sales. And I felt so like shameful about it for a long time, and I like hid the fact. Like I still haven't really talked publicly about the fact that I didn't really make a lot of sales from this book, this self-published book, The Making of Product Managers. My husband even actually created like, he designed the front cover, and he actually like created like physical versions of the book for me. Like he was so proud that I wrote this book, but I basically just keep this book like in the back shed. Like I never talk about it. Like you literally can't find it anywhere. It's actually on Amazon. like Amazon Kindle. So you can actually get it on Amazon, but like I think I even took down like the landing page. It's like I just don't care. But now that I think about it, it's like I've already written the failed self-published book. Like I've already failed at self-publishing the book. So imagine the next time I decide to self-publish a book, it's gonna be so much easier because I'm like, I'm going to start freaking talking about this book even before I start writing it. And then I'm going to freaking talk about it the whole time that I'm writing it. I'm going to do all this marketing, pre-sale, all this stuff, like email list, build everything up. Like I know what I did wrong. And it's like your nerves are more settled. Like you feel more calm. So I think like that's been like, so it's like do it just to mess it up the first time. You're probably not even going to mess it up that badly. But I think it's like, if you're so worried about messing it up, it's like, just get it over with. I think that was sort of like my mentality too. Not like a negative way and like a, I know it's going to fail type of way, but in like a, whatever, who cares? Like if it's not going to be as successful as I think, let's just get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. You know, just do it so you can finish it. And then next time you're not as green. I think that's what it is. Like you just don't want to be that green, right? And it's like same with going live. Like the first time I went live, like I just wanted to do it just to do the first live. I was like, okay, now it's out of the way. Great. It was okay. It wasn't great, but like it's out of the way. Now the next time I go live, I'm not going to be that nervous, right? So you can kind of like actually get to business. Hey, Nev. Oh my gosh, me and Nev just had like a really like heartfelt chat on the phone earlier today. Today has just been like super aligned. She just like randomly asked me for like a quick call about like something about like the breathwork session that I did. Anyway, it was like super fun to just like chat with her. And we like chatted so much about like people's fear of, hey hon, oh my gosh, all the like best baddies are in the live today. but we were just chatting about how like people are not expressed enough and they don't prioritize themselves enough. And I think a lot of it is honestly like a fear of judgment and a fear of disappointing others. Like we were even talking about how like Christmas, it's like, for me, the end of the year is a time of reflection. Like even this live, it's like I'm reflecting on my year. I'm telling you like, hey, here are lovingly the objective ways in which I think I could have taken more action and freaking kicked fear in its butt, right? Bad Girls Club. Ooh, I like it. And so the end of the year for me is very reflective, yet I feel like a lot of people get like very bogged down with family stuff, which I understand there's obligations. I totally get it. Like me here with no family in Vancouver, I'm just like, what do you mean it's stressful? I totally understand. Like I'm a bit of an outlier, but it's like, you have to take time for yourself. And I think it's like fear of disappointment, fear of rejection. And people really carry this in every facet of their life, right? Like including in the case of kind of how I serve my clients is like in the case of content, like they're scared to show up in the same way that like, to me, I think it's like when it comes to the way people show up in their business and their content, it's like they're scared to show up for themselves because they feel like they're showing up. They have to like account for other people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm like explaining this well, but it's like, I'm trying to draw a parallel between the Christmas thing. Cause I feel like the Christmas thing, it's like, you're scared that if you prioritize yourself that you're going to disappoint someone else or like someone else isn't going to like you. And then you end up like rejecting yourself. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do with their content, where it's like, we want to be liked. We don't want to be judged. And so we dim our own light and we shoot ourselves in the foot. And then we wonder why we don't have any confidence. That's just kind of like my very short conclusion to this like deep topic. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I was talking to Nev about like the breathwork session that we did and how like, she was saying, she was like, you're like the poster child for this work. And like, I do really like resonate with that, if I'm allowed to toot my own horn for a little bit here. It is my live after all. But like, I was telling her how like, I first and foremost do it for myself. So it's funny because I feel like some people like people struggle to show up for themselves because of other people. But ironically for me, it's like I do these things for myself because I know, because I'm like fighting this like stigma of like, oh, like you're so emotional, like don't be so emotional, like, you know, you need to have thicker skin and like don't be so vulnerable, and like not everyone wants to hear all your like dirty laundry and like all this stuff, which I'm like fighting that like stigma. But you know, the ironic thing that I was telling Nev, it's like the additional reason why I expressed myself in ways that I did at, let's say, like the breathwork session, or like in a sharing circle after some kind of like an event, or even just like in an Instagram live, like I'm talking to you about guys about how I was like literally freaking scared to like message someone to tell them there was a group chat for the free challenge. Like the reason I'm talking about that is because number one, I just want to be honest with myself, and I want to show myself that I can talk about that openly without being scared that people are going to judge me. It's like, I'm just going to express myself. Like, I think that's like an interesting thing to share. I just want to get it out in the open, so it's not like this weird, like suppressed, and then there's this detachment between who I am online versus who I'm not. Like, that's why I put that story slide up yesterday where I was like, hey y'all, like I've actually been really fucking scared during this challenge. And it's not like, you know, I was like, it's not like I'm like, you know, freaking dying or something, but it's like, I just want to be honest, because, you know, I don't like to like be online in my content, be like, la, 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 la. And everyone thinks just like, oh my God, like, she's perfect. Like, how is she doing all these things? And it's like, no, dude, like, I'm not. Like, I'm scared just like you. I'm just doing it, right? So, like, I do it for myself just to create that congruence so that I'm not, like, detached from my authentic self. But the second reason I do, and I was telling Nev about this, is because I think people need to see that it's okay. Like, and I talk so much about this, where, like, my life's mission is to show others that it is good for you or actually, no, this is how I say it. My life's mission is to show people that it is safe and actually good for you to put your full self out there. Like, that is actually my life mission. Yes, I help people build businesses. Yes, I help people create sales with their content. Yes, I help people attract green flag clients and all that stuff. But like, ultimately what it is I'm showing you, because the whole reason you built your business is because you want to be fully expressed in who you are. So I think it's a crime that some of us are scared to be ourselves on social media. I understand the fear. Trust me, I get it. I'm not like saying you shouldn't be afraid, but it's all warranted why you're afraid. But it's literally your duty to yourself to actually fight that fear, because you need to fully that's the whole reason we're here, right? Like, if we're not fully expressing ourselves, like, we're just like living on autopilot. And so the reason I do the things that I do is because I want to show others that like, it's good for you, it's safe, it's okay, it's actually a positive thing. People literally hire me because I am so authentic. I literally had a woman in the DMs today who inquired about a program, wasn't the right fit, and then she went off and purchased another program, which is like, my bad, I should have had the mid to low. So this is why I created the low to mid ticket offer today, because I was like, I have a hole in my freaking bucket. No, I'm joking, in my product suite. But she was telling me, she was like, I was like, oh, like, what other program are you in? And she told me, and I was like, oh, I was gonna actually invite you into this like Instagram program. It's like a mini version, but like, I think like you're probably good for now, because the program she's in does the Instagram thing. And then she's like, oh yeah, like, it might be a little too much for now. But she's like, honestly though, like, I'm kind of like missing a bit of like authentic connection with this other program. So like, I'm really looking forward to like being in your programs in the future. And so people actually hire me because I am like fully expressed in who I am. But more importantly, I can create that space for them to be like that, right? And like, that's what we all want. And that's why I'm gonna try to not go into this rant again, because I keep ranting about this lately. And even like, I saw like Pearl kind of like hinted at it at the Christmas buy rate party yesterday, and I was just like, Lena, don't say anything. But basically that's why like I have a bit of, and I was talking about it to Nev today, of course, I'm like, any ear that will listen, I will rant about this. But I feel like there's a lot of obsession with money in the industry, and it's just like 20K months, 50K months, 100K months, millions, 7, 9, 10, money, like, make more money. And we all want to make money, but it's like, the reason my clients actually come to me is because they want to feel authentic in their content. They want to feel good showing up in their business. Yes, they want to freaking make money. They're like, here's my money goal. Like, I actually want to attract clients. Like, obviously I need to freaking feed my family. But the number one thing that attracts them, they're just like, I like how you show up. I want to show up like that, because they know that when they show up like that, everything becomes so much easier. Like, you get to sell easier. You get to show up on your client calls easier because you're attracting the right people. It's just, everything flows. And so instead of, talking about all this like money, like, I don't really talk about money that much, because that's not actually why my clients hire me. Like, because they know I have the goods, but it's like the initial magnet is this authenticity, which a lot of people are craving in their life, right? Because it is so freaking hard. Like, I was just talking to Nev about this today. It's like, we live in a very suppressed society, especially as women. That's a whole nother tangent I could go on, which I'm not going to do right now. But it's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's like, this is going to sound really intense. And I feel like, oh my gosh, we have Catherine in here. We have literally the dream team in here. Okay, now that Catherine's in here, I feel like I can say this. It's actually become difficult, and you guys have to drop an emoji if you feel like this is you too. It's become so difficult. I'm like whispering. It's become so difficult for me to engage in a close way with people who are not as fully expressed, because I can feel them holding back, and I feel like I can't get to know them as much. And it kind of like deprives me of the relationship. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like that's kind of like that's actually the pandemic that's going on, you guys. I was like going on about this with Pearl a few weeks back when we were having some fun at my house, let's just put it that way. And I guess I can talk about this in this live, but I was basically saying how like COVID was not the first pandemic that we were all in. It's like the actual pandemic that's already been going on is the fact that like people are not able to be their authentic selves. They're scared to be themselves. And then COVID happened and we all started wearing physical masks, but actually we had been wearing masks for a long time, like masks of who we are not, right, in society. Anyway, that's like my really crazy, like, that's my like crazy spiel of where like my work is like connected to like the deeper mission of like helping people be their authentic self and just like actually take, like, that's how you like, anyway, I'm just going to stop myself because this is a very crazy tangent and I think I need to just like chill with it because I need to refine it, but I feel like you guys will probably agree. But yeah, that's my whole jam. I feel like people need to feel more free. I think that's what it is. It's like the number one thing that I want in my life is freedom. I feel like I always like go live and I'm like, it'll just be like 15 minutes. And then like an hour later, I'm like, what I really want in my life is just to feel free. It becomes this like really philosophical, deep discussion. But like what I really want is just to be free and feel free and to feel accepted. That's like all we want, right? Like that's what we want. That's why we build our businesses. We want to like attract people who just like appreciate us. They love our weirdness. We can just like cackle. Like we can let out that weird laugh that we only let out at home. Like with our clients, like that's what I do on Zoom. I love it. It's like I get to be like my weird self. Like even earlier yesterday, I was like talking to my husband and he came to my room to like look at something and I had like my computer up. And I had like one of my reels up, the one of me like booty shaking, because I was like looking up some analytics and it was just like playing in the background. And he's like asking me something like, yeah, like honey, like I'm like helping him. And he's like, what the hell is that in the background? I'm like, oh, like that's my marketing. And I just like had that moment where I was like, am I like living my dream life or am I living my dream life? Like I get to literally take a video of me booty shaking in my living room and then freaking post it on Instagram and promote my business that makes me money. Like if that's not freedom, I honestly don't know what is. Like you can take your 100K months and like put them in the freaking, I don't even know where, because like I'm already a freaking millionaire. Like that to me is my dream life because I get to just like be me and people get to laugh at me. Like all I've ever wanted is for people to laugh at me, not in a mean way, but in like a I'm entertaining them way. And like I achieved that through my business. So I guess like that's really kind of like my question to like everyone in the world is like, what do you really want? Like, what do you really want? Because for me, and you can't say money. You can't say money. That's not fair. That's not the right answer because money is a means to an end. But what do you really want? Like, I just want to entertain people and have them laugh at me and have them like feel happy and have them see that it's okay and good for you to put your full self out there. That's what I've been literally showing people my entire life ever since I was like a freaking child. I've always just shown people, I'm like, hey, like, it's good. It's okay with you. Like, yes, there will be a few haters. There is always going to be someone raining on your parade. But look at all these awesome people who, like, love it. They're laughing. And look, now they're doing the thing that makes them happy. Like, isn't that awesome when you can, like, help someone be themselves? Like, this feels so basic, but, like, this is the world that we live in. Like, I feel like my IG bio should just be, like, I help you just be you. And honestly, that's what it is. And, like, maybe I should just, like, simplify it. It's funny because, like, someone was telling me that, like, everyone eventually becomes a life coach. And I, like, didn't really believe it when I first heard it, but I was just, like, now I'm, like, maybe it's actually true because like I kind of am just like helping people like be themselves like through their business, right? And then that's where like you can show up as yourself in your life, with your family, with your friends, in public, when you introduce your business. Like when I get to introduce my business, I'm like, hey guys, like I'm the LinkedIn baddie. Like I have a community of baddies. I like to post videos about ham yogurt and like my clients love it. And like my clients are like my besties and they're hilarious. And we love to just be weird together. It's like, that's just me, right? And like, I want everyone to feel like that about their business. and their life. So yeah, that's all I got for you today. That's my philosophical like freaking download again. And the 15-minute live. Pearl's gonna give me shit again because it's like, I'm like, I'll just go live for like 15 minutes and then like an hour later it's like, but anyways, I have to go send out the replay for the free IG bio workshop that we did today, which was so freaking fun. Oh my God, like we had the best time ever. I love helping people put what they do into this like incredible succinct statement or set of statements that they put on their profile that then makes them feel so confident to explain what they do and like excited to like show up in their content, have people go to their profile and just like, it's like so exciting. So yeah, super, super happy about that. I'm going to be doing more like free masterclasses in the new year. I'm actually lining one up for January, so keep your eyes peeled. So I'm super excited for that, and obviously going to be dropping my little ticket, my low mid ticket offer next week to the public. Again, we have 3 baddies inside. I can't believe it. Again, take action. The first download that you have for something, just go run and do it, honestly. I didn't even get to talk about the whole concept of like, you need way less than you think. I think that's like a whole live on its own. I was talking about that to Pearl earlier today, and I've just been thinking a lot about like less is more lately with like offers and everything. But nevertheless, that is that. So yeah, lots of new stuff coming in 2024, more authenticity, more action, more weirdness. I'm going to be posting even more weird shit into the feed. You guys are going to be like, what the hell is wrong with this person? And that is my goal basically in my life. I want people to be like, what the hell is wrong with her? I want what she's on. I want to be that unhinged. I want to feel that free. That is my freaking goal. And that's a mic drop. All right, I'm going to head out. But send me a DM if you love this live and what your biggest light bulb moment is. I love hearing from you guys and knowing like what resonated out of my crazy, crazy rambles. But anyway, I love you guys so much, and I will chat to you soon. Bye.